Steph van der Loo is a market access manager to Septentrio, and he's gonna talk to us about how reliable is your autonomous vehicle. Is that right, Stefan? Yeah?
Very much correct.
Cool.
Much correct. Can you all hear me? Yes, I think so. So, yeah, Stefan Malo, Market Access Manager at Septentrio. Let me start right away by saying thank you to all the farmers. I mean, the world is kind of on fire in a way, in different places, unfortunately. And I mean, farmers' concern is really a matter of everybody. So thank you for willing to participate in this FIRA event during these quite difficult times. I know that there are not all of them as farmers, but in general, everybody partnering with the farmer community and working in the agriculture business. Thanks for taking your time here to be here, of course. Also some good things. I mean, a lot of partnerships, a lot of acquisitions the past year. Yeah. So, so a lot of partnerships, a lot of acquisitions happening this year. The technologies are being integrated more and more by the OEMs, of course. So it's not only all the downsides, but it's yeah, it's a lot of upsides and a lot of good things and prosperity upcoming in the upcoming years. How can we help as Septentrio? Well, I can definitely not fix all these work problems. But of course, we can minimize the risk a little bit to build good solutions and very trustworthy solutions, and especially when you go autonomous with your robots, you really need these kind of solutions. So who is Septentrio? Septentrio is a global leader in GNSS and positioning systems. We are a company in Belgium located with our headquarters around 140 people. The vast majority we have is basically in the R&D business. We're coming very much from the scientific side of things, but pushing all our good technologies actually inside the industrial applications and the industrial markets there. We've got over 20 years of experience and we built everything ourselves. And that's quite unique. So we built our own ASICs, we built our own chipsets, we built our own positioning engine or measurement engines. And this allows us basically to go a bit deeper with the customer. And in this case, our customer is the robotics manufacturer. So we always build according to these 4 pillars. We have offices all over the world, not only sales offices, but also very much support offices, and we can support on a local basis there. And then, of course, we serve many, many markets, but the markets we serve are really in the safety-critical environment. So when you need a very reliable and premium kind of GNSS, then this is basically what you need. It's not the mainstream lower grade, but it's really when your application is safety critical. For example, an autonomous robot, it needs to be safe at all times. You need to geofence these things. You cannot have any problems with avoid hazards. You all need to do these things, so our systems can really do that. So a quick story, 2016, we started already supplying NIO. I believe it was already in 2016. Which were one of the first customers in the ag robotics business. Now we're in 2024. A lot of things happened actually lately. So if we look back at the presentations we gave here and the talks we did all together, we have the navigational part. I think the navigation is quite under control. I mean, you guys have the navigation under control, the robotics manufacturer. I mean, the robot is operating, the navigating is going, the accuracy is there, the orientation is there, the precision is also there. Not always, but most of the time with our products is there at least. The usability, we've spent a lot of time lately, the past years, on making our products easier to integrate, building things like a 3D lever arm calculator, which allows you to install very easily an INS system. We built all kinds of products, and I will show you a product at the end, which is also the result of all these long years of working and long years of gathering information from you guys and building our products. I think we are here now. We need to be safe, right? That's a bit the key word. I mean, it's all about accepting what is changing. So we call it integrity. Integrity, basically the trustworthiness of our position. Meaning that when you have an error message, what kind of error message is it? And can I understand that error message in the right way? So very quickly, this is an old slide, maybe some of you recognize it, an old slide last year and the year before, but the market needs to stay the same, the robot needs to be safe, the operation needs to be safe. You need to be able to trust on your robots. You don't want any shutdowns in the field, especially not when you let this going for example, overnight. You let your robot go overnight, you don't want any shutdowns because you have a big problem with your planning. On the other side, from the technology perspective, the safety and security is massively important. We get a lot of questions about integrity, about our good RAIN Plus technologies, about geofencing and safe borders, and then of course also the interference side. There's a lot of interferences going on nowadays. So how to mitigate these kind of things. I'm not going to tell you everything in detail on how you do that, but I will show you a little bit from our side, the technology demand. Again, the GNSS, IMU, INS kind of stuff. We kind of got that vision. It's getting more and more in there, also used more and more as a part of redundancy or navigation. I think we're at that line, right? Technology adoption is done. Technology is adopted, it's there, it's out there. You guys can use it. Nowadays, it's all about accepting, improving the technology. More or less on the side of the farmer, more or less on the side on the application, more or less on your side. What we see is, of course, it's all about geofencing and integrity. And actually, this whole range is about safe robots. This whole line is going on the accepting side, the way of thinking of farmers. They need to think differently, to do things differently with different robots. Starts with trust, ends up with safe. In between, again, that integrity part. So what is integrity? Integrity can be very complex. I mean, it's all kinds of algorithms, what we do in our systems, of course. I'm not going to explain you how that works. I'm not the safety expert, I'm not the algorithm expert, so I also can't explain you how that works. I can explain you the impact of it. So what is it? Basically is, when I get a position, and my position says I'm here. But what if I'm here, right? Then you have a problem. You need to have this error messaging. The thing is, how do you interpret this error message? And then can you use that in your own robot to make it safe? That's basically the key of making your robot safe.
Steph, keep your microphone, please. Close to, yeah.
So we don't have the option as a component manufacturer to be a ASIL-B. And that's also a bit weird because that's a car kind of thing, right? You don't want to go automotive on your robot side. Eventually you will get restrictions. I know that in France, the first ones are already out in terms of the standardized certifications. So we need to grow towards that side, actually. And that's the integrity part. So how can I trust my integrity? How can I trust my position? Then you need to learn more about your systems there. Whereas at most values, of course, autonomous, of course, on the automation side, and of course, on the sensor fusion side. There's the most important. That's where you really need that. An algorithm is one point, and you can make a lot of algorithms. But excuse my language, scrap in, scrap out, right? I mean, you can put a lot of algorithm layers on top of your components, but if you do not understand why something behaves as it behaves, and it's in the core of the hardware, then you can have many protection algorithms and protection limits and software, but then it's not really safe and it's not really future-proof. A black box stays a black box. And we are not that black box. So you have your output, and if everything is fine, then everything is fine. But the thing is, we're moving from testing to adoption, from testing to accepting. And then you really need a trustworthy system. But more or less, you need to know your trustworthy system, and you need to know how you can handle and interpret certain data. So when the output is not so good anymore, then what? You have a black box. So what do? Try to build all kinds of redundancy systems. But you need to learn the core system. So what we say is, as Septentrio, we're opening up a little bit. So we're opening up, we call it an orange box. It's not the cube, definitely not the cube for all the robotics guys. But it's not a black box. So we're open, we're willing to give all our modeling, all our options basically, to really that you can get this part right in your robot. You can make your robot safe with that. So what do we have, for example? Just a sneak preview. I'm not going to show you all these models. This is something where you can come to us and we explain you in the detail on how our tracking loops work, on how our GNSS work, and then you can really use it and interpret it in the right way. Things like user controlled integrity parameters. We have a very good RAIN plus. It means that we can mitigate and detect a lot of things, and we can combine that with our error messaging system. We have a lot of quality indicators, whether it's a signal, antenna, CPU, or every other things. We have a spectrum analyzer. Very handy, of course, for robotics people, especially when you have self-interference. You can set your own notch filters. You can basically limit all these kind of factors to really make your robot safe. So basically, what do you do? I mean, we provide you the tools. That's the only thing we can do. We don't want to be the black box. We're not your integrator. You are the integrator. But what we try to do is give you all the tools and all the hand-holding where we can to make so that you can make your robot safe, right? One very important point, especially for you robotics guys, is that it's not compromising on low latencies. Yes, we have multiple check loops, and you know that when you use our products, it's a very low latency product. But we're very willing to give you more control and to really show you on when you need to do what. You can set the boundaries. You can decide when you trust what kind of system in your whole architecture. So I would say come to us. I mean, making your robot safe, that's more on your level. That's on an engineering level. It's not on a component level, but you really need to understand the component side. So we're willing to give a bit more information, really take you inside this box. So come to us. We have our whole sales team over there, I would say, and our field application engineers. We're here all day long. And then we have one last big one. Actually, this is released actually 2 days ago, the INS version at least. This is the new rugged smart antenna. It's ultra rugged, as we like to call it. It's one of the few full INS inertial smart antennas, where you also have the option to combine it into a dual antenna. We've got the product with us. If you want to see it, pass by. We have, of course, a whole stack of products from modules to boards to these kind of very rugged boxes. But feel free to come pass by, and then we will have a talk about these kind of things. I think that's it. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Yes, any questions? No one? Yeah? So just remind me, how many people are you in the company? And also, how many people are you in the company? Actually?
140.
140 people. And have you got a stand here if people want to see you?
No, we're not having a stand. Normally we do. All the years we had a booth. Not anymore. And this is a good sign, actually. Let me point that out. Meaning that this is converting into something for the farmer, right? And that's basically the goal. It's converting into the adoption side. Meaning that we guys, our competitors, but also the other electronic manufacturers, I mean, we can still have a booth here, but the technology is there. So why? There's no reason anymore to do that. So it's time for this next step. And that's what you see happening here. There are more farmers here than ever, I think. Very good for the robotics companies. And I think we're ready. It's more about changing the way of thinking, changing the way of accepting these kind of things.
So it's like the social things of agriculture and technologies together.
Yeah, I'm not a farmer, but I can imagine if you work 20 years in a way of you have a way of working and you need to change that with a robot, that requires a lot of a lot of things, right? That's not just like this, even if the technology is there. So it's more the accepting process. And what we can do is help the robot manufacturer have this under control and let them make their robot very, very safe.
Okay.
So this accepting criteria gets better.
Because at the end, you increase the performance of the agriculture.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in terms of our performance side, it's there, it's all possible, but indeed, eventually, this is also something macroeconomics, right?
Yeah.
Which will push the side also on the farmer side.
Okay. Any question? No? Well, thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
And you've got, well, so it was Septentrio, and you've got Steph to answer to you if you want to meet him. And sorry, I can't remember the name, but the other, those three guys here.
Yeah, we've got Karsten, Jonas, and Arno with us. We will stay here all day. I'm also here tomorrow, so when you see me walk around, and just let me know. We can have a talk, no problem.
And again, if you want to have a contact of them afterwards, the FIRA is here to give you more information.